So today I thought I'd do a little video. Let's talk about using backing tracks live. So, here we go, backing tracks. Let's look at how they're used, why they're used, and is it cheating or is it not? Now, a lot of bigger bands, when they hit the studio, there's a lot of extra added sections into the music that isn't easily recreated with the band as is. Sometimes you'll add string sections, extra backing vocals, lots of guitar layers, maybe some percussion, some electronic program sections. There's a lot that can go into it and it can get pretty big pretty quick. Now, my opinion on the matter is this. We're not back in the 80s or 90s anymore. And even then, you'd have like a keyboard player side of stage or whatnot, an extra member. Green Day were a good one for this, where they had extra guitars, extra keyboards, extra backing vocals. 9 times out of 10, the average Frank or Joe in the audience, they're not gonna know the difference. If it's a wicked show and the atmosphere is cool, they're not gonna care. Like, honestly, they don't care. So my opinion is this: when you hit the studio and you add all these extra layers in, don't hold back. And if you can, and if you decide it's best for you guys, if it's that critical to the song, absolutely use backing tracks. So let's look at some of the ways that you can implement this into your set. Now, for a more budget friendly, you want to look at something like a SPDX, which is a sample pad. And what you'll do is, and this only works if you're playing to a click track, you will set up your sample pad and you will have one file, one stereo WAV file, which is your backing tracks, all your extra bits. None of the drums, none of the main vocals, if that's what you want. And you will also have a second file just as long with the click track. Now, once you load this in, you will then trigger off one pad, both these files at the same time. So when you hit pad 1, song 1 will start, and the click and the backing track will start and run at the same time. Now, to extend this out into bigger setups, for bigger bands, touring bands, usually you'd have a playback technician. Now, these guys will run something like Logic, Pro Tools, something like that, some way of controlling. And this gives them a little bit more control. You can set multiple outputs, so you can actually mix the backing tracks rather than having one file. So you could have some extra guitars on channel 1 and 2. You can have your synths on 3 and 4, your backing vocals on 5 and 6, and so on and so forth. Now, this can get pretty technical pretty quickly, and it can also start taking up a fair bit of room as well. And it's not cheap. Going in at the budget level with the SPDX, you're probably talking about £400, £500, maybe £600. And then for a proper playback system, you'd be talking thousands then to get it efficiently. And you want to make sure that there's no hiccups, there's no screw-ups, nothing goes wrong. The last thing that anybody wants is backing tracks to cut off halfway through a song and then your click's gone and everybody's lost and everybody's panicking. So it's having a system that's reliable, something you know that's going to work night in, night out. And having a redundancy setup is also helpful as well, because if something does go wrong, you've got somewhere to fall back on. Now, obviously, for those guys starting out, you're going to have very minimal crew, if any, so you're going to have to make sure that you can contain yourselves and it's solid. Everything's easily accessible, and your main priority is making sure it's reliable, that nothing's going to go down. So In short, are backing tracks cheating? Well, no, not really. I personally feel like it enhances the performance, and if it's a crucial part of the song, you want to take what you've done in the studio and recreate that in front of a live audience. You don't hold back in the studio, so why should you hold back at a show? It's really important that you put on one hell of a show, and then people are gonna come back and they're gonna bring more and more friends and they're gonna buy merch, and okay, cool. I'm not saying backing tracks, you need backing tracks to put on a killer show, because there are plenty of bands putting on killer shows that don't use backing tracks. But if this suits you and you're debating it, then here's some of the options, and hopefully you can take something away from it. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments below. And if you've got any other questions, yeah, get in touch. Take it easy.